Hey guys, Dixie back with some more juicy Veilguard info. Today diving deep into the new IGN exclusive Veilguard video and breaking down everything from melee mage combat, upgrading gear, upgrading shops, faction rep rewards, the necromancer ultimate healing, magic environmental interaction, companion quests, high difficulty encounters and much more. So let's get right into it. First we get a tour around the lighthouse. Small sidebar, those who are worried about the minimap, it's right here. I swear you all play Black Myth Wukong once and think every game is suddenly going to throw the book out. Speaking of, we're in a library right now, but before we're in a room called the Meditation Chamber. Who doesn't want to relax in a room underwater? Besides a collectible, there's a wardrobe you most likely get to change your outfit at. We pass the library full of quests and end up in the courtyard. You'll notice that something isn't quite right here. The lighthouse is your base of operations, but it's within the Fade. It's a place Solus was able to plan his rebellion many years ago. Now you and your team have occupied it. Speaking of team, we'll be going to visit Davrin, one of our companions. What's a nice quality of life improvement is that you get some kind of indication when companions have something to say to you. Usually they'll turn their lights on. Lights off means no conversation, on means something to say. So no pointless checking in on every single character after every single side mission, though it probably won't stop me personally from doing it anyways, just in case I miss some juicy interaction. So we check in with Davrin. You immediately see he has his own room. All companions will have their own room, each decorated to suit their personality. In this case, Davrin is a Grey Warden with a baby griffin, a species thought to be extinct, so this room is more open, allowing it to fly around as needed. However, what the hell is that? So this is a loyalty conversation about no, sorry, I just can't look past this. Who made this abomination in their character creator? Someone consciously thought, yes, I'm going to lock this in. This canary vapid troglodyte.
Brother,
Okay, let's get my mind off this. Maybe I should tell you about the competition I have going. You could win a 4090, a console of your choice, games, and many other prizes to celebrate my approach to 250,000 subscribers. To enter, subscribe, follow the Gleam link below, and keep an eye out for the purple code in every video. So we're presented with our first choice. In typical Bioware fashion, you can ask for more information on the left and present a response on the right. They're talking about a Gloom Howler that has been stalking Grey Wardens and has kidnapped some Griffins too, which seems to get Davrin's attention. All the companions have an approval rating with you. We've seen the ranks before, and each rank seemingly gives you skill points to spend within the companion's individual skill trees, so gaining their approval will be key. In Davrin's case, he likes the hardline direct approach, so the player selects that. Lo and behold, Davrin approves. He then talks to his Griffin. There's a bond between a Grey Warden and a Griffin that is supposed to develop over time. I really hope if you choose the Grey Warden background, you'll get a Griffin yourself, but I highly doubt it. We'll just have to be content with padding his. I'm loving the very clearly deep and rich lore they're developing and leaning into for even basic loyalty conversations. Davrin's voice actor is great as well.
handle this alone. Just go to the cauldron and get the griffins back.
You'll then be able to explore Davrin's bedroom, walk out the door, and continue doing whatever you wish. In this case, we'll be heading to the crossroads to travel to Hossberg Wetlands to help Davrin with the quest we just got. It looks like Harding's room has her lights on. I'm a little shocked we turn around and leave poor Harding alone with her thoughts, but hey, I also wouldn't have made my character look like Trogdor the Burninator. We walk back to the library, down a ramp into the Alluvian room. To get to the crossroads, we need to enter through here, but the crossroads are at a point of contention, so we might be in for a fight. So clicking on a portal shows us our destination, the crossroads, with 0% discovered. It also seems like we have a few collectibles here, 16 of something and 9 of something else. Not sure what they are right now, but I suspect major chests and enemies. We have the current quest that we're on, as well as the party we have selected, Nev and Harding. What is interesting is that we can travel directly to the tracked quest. We can't see how that works though, as we select to simply travel to the crossroads. Here we are, now out of our casual wear into our combat gear. You'll notice there are a few points of interest on the minimap. I won't speculate here, but your lyrium dagger starts vibrating, so there's something you can open up or interact with. The Lyrium Dagger lets you use a special companion ability to interact with the world, which we'll go through soon. One of the things you can discover in the Crossroads is memories of Solus that you get to play out, how he acted in the rebellion against the Elven gods. I'm super interested personally to see how it played out. A spirit shows up, the caretaker, who's been here longer than Solus was. This place was once a safe haven for spirits, and you can aid the caretaker in rebuilding this area. We all know Solus has an unusual amount of love for spirits, and now the Crossroads is under assault from the gods, so he can't be happy about that. Now it's time for combat. Our character is a mage. No, wait, their character is a mage. I can't hang my hat on this Megamind creation. Not that he can wear a hat either, not because of the horns, but because of that massive head. So as we know, Darkspawn have a weakness to fire, so the devs have equipped a fire staff. As a mage, you have a lot of strong ranged options, but melee options as well if you switch weapons, which we'll see soon. You're seeing only dodging and using the staff attacks right now. If you hold heavy, you unleash a wave that seems to clear the trash very easily and set the Greater Hurlock on fire. He then brings up the weapon wheel. We can see Nev and Harding's abilities as well as Rook's. We've seen Harding's Shred highlighted before, but here it is again. It deals high stagger and applies the Sundered effect. The player selects the ability, then commands the party to attack the target, cancelling the queued up Sunder, which we see as the tick over the ability is removed. Then we see Rook firing off a necrotic spell called Corrupted Ground, which I'll run through soon. I assume they fire this off because it would have detonated the Sunder effect, but as the devs are showcasing this game to IGN, they may not have noticed their misinput as they're focused on demoing rather than playing optimally. Or maybe they're really leaning into role-playing as Trogdor the Megamind. Also, the spell they fired off wasn't the one that would have detonated. If we go back to the ability wheel, we see that it's this one that would have comboed with Shred, as per the handy helper suggesting so. The spell takes 2 pips of mana and has a short cooldown. It applies necrosis and does damage over time. The staff is fire-based, but this channeled light ability changes to necrotic, and that's because of the siphon ability, which we'll go through soon. Now we venture back into the ability wheel to rectify the mistake and get off the combo. While showcasing the combo potential, the demoer shows us some more skills. Here's Harding's heavy draw skill. It deals high stagger and detonates overwhelmed, once again on a reasonable cooldown. Then we mouse over to Arcane Shot, a mage skill on Rook. It deals close to double the damage of Harding's heavy draw, which is a common theme. The companions will seemingly do around half your damage. Arcane Shot does fire damage, costs 2 mana pips and launches 5 projectiles, which apply burning. Then we have Corrupted Ground, which is the one we fired off before. It deals around the same damage as a companion skill, for 2 mana. It applies necrosis and deals additional damage as enemies are exposed to it. It also applies weaken, which can be comboed with, but it also lowers enemy damage. What I'm most excited for though is Spirit Bomb. It seems like it does a ton more damage than all other skills we've seen so far. It costs 2 mana like the others and applies Siphoned, which we just talked about. If an enemy has Siphoned on them, if you use that channeled staff ability, you'll restore health. Spirit Bomb also deals damage each second you're connected to a target, before a final blast deals bonus damage that intensifies the longer the target is exposed to it. It also detonates Sundered, so Harding can apply and then we can detonate. So let's do it. Harding first applies the Sundered effect, and then we start channeling on the Darkspawn. The final explosion sets off the combo, dealing 302 damage in an AoE. If there were enemies around it, they would have felt the hit, but it's kind of overshadowed by the fact our basic attack just critically hit for 2,426 damage. We must have specced into it somehow. So that's the first look at mage combat, but there will be more. Moving past the encounter, we see Harding talk to Nev in a random bit of banter that BioWare games are known for. In this case, it's about Templars in Tevinter. So it's mentioned that the Crossroads take on a feel of the region that they're connected to the closer you get to the portal. In this case, we're heading to a Hosberg wetlands portal and the region starts looking more like it. The first time you travel to a region, you need to get there via the Crossroads, the link between worlds, but the next time you'll be able to fast travel to a beacon you unlock, avoiding the Crossroads entirely if you wish. This region is almost completely consumed by the Blight, and we're in a Grey Warden outpost right now. Here we see one of the scrolls we've walked past before in the meditation room in the lighthouse. It's a codex entry about the improved Blight. Apparently the Blight is not behaving like it usually does, so the Grey Wardens are investigating. After the camera freaks out a bit, probably due to the wretched stench it detected getting close to Troglodyte Rook, we talk to one of the merchants at this haven. This is our first look at how different factions' rep will affect you. You can see here they have a bar that fills as you gain more reputation with the faction, and there's a 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star reward. We also see that you can upgrade this shop to unlock new items. It does cost resources though, so I bet a lot of people, myself included, will want to know which faction shops have the best gear for our class choice before we make a background choice. It's a video I'll be sure to make. So to upgrade, we need 500 gold, 50 of some kind of mineral, and 500 rep. You'll notice when you upgrade, you actually gain 50 reputation. To upgrade to rank 3 now, you need to invest a lot more. So here we see the buy tab of weapons. It seems these are all weapons we have and can upgrade. So coming here lets us upgrade Davron's epic longsword, the Griffin's Talon. It'll go from epic to legendary and gain some damage and stagger amount while costing 400 gold to do so. The sword itself upgrades Davron's ability, attack my target, and also deals AoE fire damage if his attacks break a target's armor, making him good at sticking on bigger enemies. We could also upgrade this elemental orb that our mage can equip that improves fire damage and adds burning effects, but we don't have the gold, so we leave the merchant and head for a small town of Lavendale. This apparently used to be a beautiful town, but now the blight has really desaturated it. The devs must be screaming because they really love smashing the oversaturation button up to 100. Speaking of, be sure to smash the subscribe button as well. So we walk over to one of the quest markers on Finn the Physician. The devs mentioned that they want all side quests to feel linked to the story in some way. This one has you finding his mentor. The next quest we get is speaking to Warden Greta, who wants you to find some missing Grey Wardens. So we have a few side quests, but we're here for Davron's mission. So we pass through a cave wherein we see an explosive organic ball of some kind dropping down and exploding. The first environmental hazard we've seen so far. As this is the Blight, we do see Darkspawn as well. The Blight apparently has become more sentient, more organic. In other Dragon Ages, it existed as a slow-moving wall of corruption, but now it's something more. They mentioned that the Elven gods are blighted, so perhaps it has something to do with it. Now we entered the Blighted Grove, full to the brim with flaming worms entering the ground to escape from Trogdor. It's at this moment that the devs point out that Darkspawn looked different than before, and apparently that is intentional. Gillinan, the god of monsters, uses blight like a medium to sculpt and warp, so it seems like she has something to do with it and the other changes in the world. So we enter combat and immediately set up the Hearting and Spirit Bomb combo on this Greater Ogre. The Ogre at least doesn't look a whole lot different to Origin's Ogres. It is, however, very tanky, and the combo doesn't do much to it, even with the Sundered effect on it. Sundered increases the damage enemies take. We also get a look at the Necromancer specialization ultimate ability. It's activated here and you start floating in the air, dealing damage in an AoE around you. Seems like spirits are swirling around as well, then at the end of its duration, you explode, dealing high damage. Without a crit, it deals 2,653 damage at once in an AoE, so these abilities won't just be flashy. Then we jump back into the ability wheel and see one of Nev's abilities, Blizzard. It deals a strangely low amount of damage at 73, the lowest we have seen on a companion. Usually they're around 300. However, it does damage each second to all enemies in the area of effect, so I assume this tooltip is only reporting on the damage it does a second, rather than its damage total, though Spirit Bomb's damage seems to be a damage total, so who knows. We finally switch to the Orb and Dagger layout with the Mage. It seems this can use a range of magical melee attacks and slices, as well as using the Orb to apply stacks to the enemies. You'll notice the Arcane Bomb tooltip above the Ogre's head, though the demoer is getting her ass kicked, so it's hard to tell exactly how it would play out normally. Then we use Arcane Missiles to deal fire damage and apply burning. We use some more abilities and then jump back into the weapon wheel. Here we see Hearting's Seismic Shot ability. It has a short 19-second cooldown, deals a high amount of damage and stagger, but to compensate, it doesn't prime or detonate anything. We also see Nev's Replenish ability, which you can put on each mage in your party. It instantly restores 932 of your health, which seems to heal you straight away. Yes, this means your party doesn't rely on health, only Rook does, so you don't need to worry about them. Though I suspect the demoer wouldn't have died if this wasn't a preview build, as they reach 0 HP but stay alive, probably as a safeguard to make sure only what happens is intended to happen. The Ogre does seem like a tougher fight than the other Darkspawn, so we load it up with orbs and dash in to detonate. Then we ask Harding to cast another seismic shot. You notice that Rook is out of mana to cast these spells and is slowly regenerating. Seismic shot does enough stagger damage to stagger the Hurlock Spiker. Neve ends up finishing off the enemy and it freezes before shattering, probably just an effect of finishing off an enemy with an ice-based weapon. So the Darkspawn are like organic weapons, think Tyranids or Zerg, that are there to help give the gods the war they desire. So we finish the enemies and make it over to a zip line, which allows us to get to another part of the swamp road. We drop down and find our first chest. It contains some heartwood common material, some golds, and a common, appearance only, foot soldier's ornaments item. So you will find cosmetics out in the world. We drop down and continue. A prompt appears explaining that we can use companion abilities, like I mentioned before with the Illyrium Dagger. So we don't need to bring a particular companion with the right ability in order to interact with the world. In this case, this Blight Abscess most likely can be interacted with by Davrin, but as Rook has the ability in the dagger, he can as well. It summons in the baby griffin, something Davrin would have done to access the area. However, he's not in our party and has instead gone on ahead. If we didn't have this dagger yet or his ability on it, we would have had to bring Davrin with us in our party. While companions won't complete the quests on their own, they will get things ready if they're not in your party. The devs wanted to make it feel like companions have autonomy, like they're invested in the success of their own stories. Then we get into battle with a greater Hurlock and I'll let it play out. Then we see Nev's Blizzard in effect. There are a few Darkspawn on high ground, so we use Harding's Shred ability, and it ends up knocking the Hurlock Blighter off the cliff and straight to the floor, instantly killing it. It seems knocking enemies around will be very effective. We walk around to the high ground to help out the companions, use a heavy attack, and it actually knocks the final Darkspawn off the edge as well, but doesn't quite kill it in one hit. But with the damage it's taken, the burning effect finishes it off. We get some resources for the kills. Even though the devs are spec'd into siphoning life and not high stagger damage, it seems like they have no problem staggering enemies. So now we arrive at the castle gates. Davrin is waiting here, so we don't need to waste a slot with the companions in order to do their companion missions. It seems like sticking to the direct conversational approach does improve Davrin's opinion of you again. If we had Davrin in our party, he would stick with us, but because he isn't, he moves on ahead and waits for us there. We also get a good look at another way you can interact with the environment. Instead of just pressing the bumper this time, we open the ability wheel. You'll notice that you can use the dagger on this simple mechanism that's easily manipulated. This is exactly what my ex thought when she looked at my back. If you select it with Rook and his dagger, you can use Davrin's ability to summon in the Griffin's Strike. As Sans strikes it, and it drops, letting you proceed. Now it's time for more combat. We avoid the Blight Boils, which Darkspawn will emerge out of if we don't destroy. Instead, Rook starts stacking arcane marks on enemies, then Rook uses a sweeping dagger attack to detonate all the marks. Seemingly dealing high damage to everything hit. Once again, the player gets hit and would have died, but instead uses Nev's Replenish to heal up. She pauses to set up another combo, then talks about how she applies siphoning to their enemies, which lets her leech health when she uses the Mage Beam attack. Now it makes sense why it's the color it is. Rook then takes down some Blight Boils before they spawn some enemies and starts taking on one of the grenade throwing enemies, who rips off bits of itself to throw at you. The dev is really struggling with this encounter, taking more hits when at 0 health. This time, she finally goes down. Maybe the game is like, look, you've taken so many hits when low, we just have to let you drop, or maybe this was pre-planned. So this is the thing, she has a green bubble that lets her revive on the spot once. Apparently she's built her companion, Nev, to revive her when that green pip is available. So it seems like, yes, there will be some difficulty later on in the game. The combat is over, and so is the gameplay showcase. We'll be tasked to destroy the sources of blight at this point, but the devs don't want to spoil the rest of the quest. So what do you think? More or less excited for Dragon Age? Let me know below. Be sure to enter the competition and do the typical YouTube stuff. You could also join my Discord if you want to keep the conversation going. For everything DA, you're in the right place. Ciao friends.